This is a DeWalt. This is the latest model, I believe, the 7491. So I bought this very used from a cabinet shop in town. So I don't know how well it's coming through on camera, but it's pretty old and beat up. So I got it for very cheap. Part of the reason for that is that the height adjustment, the blade height adjustment, wasn't working properly. The bevel lock wasn't working properly. For the height adjustment, I just used some dry lube for that. The bevel adjustment needed a little bit more coaxing, and including some dry lube, but I've got a video about how to fix the bevel lock on the channel. Other issues, the fence has a gouge in it. And so I made an auxiliary fence out of MDF. The table was, had like paint and a bunch of other crap on it, and it was, and it's not entirely flat. Down below, I can show you there, I've got the little shop vac and cyclone separator that are also connected to little circuit deal here. So when I turn the table saw on, it turns on the shop vac that goes through the cyclone separator, which one of the reasons why I liked the 7491 so much and was willing to get one of these old ones is that it's got the rack and pinion fence, and it's got the built-in dust collection. So I've got the dust port connected to the shop vac and everything, so it just keeps the shop a lot cleaner. And for the rack and pinion, I'm able to adjust my distance with just the turn of that knob without having to worry about locking in square every time. So I just have to calibrate it periodically. DW744. Yeah, so this is the 7491. The 734, I think I actually had before. That's the version right before this one, because I bought that one used as well. It did not have the built-in riving knife or separator or whatever this thing's called. It had one, but it didn't rise and lower with the blade. So if I wanted to do like dados or something like that, I would have to remove it entirely. The dust port on that one, I don't know if it came the way that I got it from the factory, or the dust collection on the one that I had was not good. Yeah, it works really well. So I mean, it's not as robust or powerful as like a cabinet saw or a contractor saw. It's generally regarded as the best job site saw for woodworking type stuff. If you have a cabinet saw or a contractor saw, which is different than a job site saw, those tend to be much more powerful and precise. You could have a cast iron, a cast iron, why can't I think of the name? Bed? No, what is it called? Top? A cast iron top to the table. It's a table saw. So a cast iron table instead of this is aluminum. And so and one of the nice things about the cast iron is then it's also magnetic. So you have like the magnetic tools that you can use on it, whereas this as aluminum magnetic stuff doesn't work. But also the cast iron tends to be a lot more reliably flat. It'll stay flat longer than the aluminum. I mean, if I wanted to buy a true cabinet saw or contractor saw, I'm going to pay thousands, right? If I'm buying it new. If I'm buying it used, there's stuff out there. There's the old Craftsman 113 cabinet saws that, those are very well regarded. I mean, they're, I think they stopped making them in like the 70s or 80s, but there's a ton of them still around, and you can get them for often like $100 or less. And, they work great, but they don't have a riving knife. So you've got to figure out a solution for, making sure you're safe. They don't have dust collection, like at all. They don't have the rack and pinion, right? And so those are some of the reasons why I didn't gravitate toward the Craftsman. And the other big thing is that it's a big thing, right? And so it wouldn't be particularly mobile. It's like, okay, I need to have a table saw, system, right, where the table saw stays in place. But the other nice thing about the Craftsman is that it can do 110 or 220. But yeah, running on the 220, it's apparently works a lot better. You have better power, better torque, better, I don't know. I'm just a hobbyist, right? I'm not trying to crank out, production work, thousands of pieces or anything like that. I'm just doing stuff for me and for my, my family and friends. And so, this is good enough for who it's for, right? So, as my granddaddy used to say, if you're needing something with really low tolerances, that's perfectly flat, that'll run forever, and stay true, probably I would recommend getting a cabinet saw or at least a contractor saw that's going to be better for you. And the other nice thing about the cabinet saws, I've been told, especially the ones that are running at 220 that are belt driven instead of direct to drive like these, is that they tend to be a lot quieter. I haven't used them. I don't know. That's just what I've heard or read. So anyway, table saws, this guy works just fine for what I do. If you're doing stuff similar to what I'm doing, I think it would be just fine. If you want to do a lot more involved stuff, then probably look for either that Craftsman, and you can make some modifications. Like I've seen people that like I've got a zero clearance throat plate that I made. I've got a video about that, and how poorly I did. I named it "How Not to Make a Zero Clearance Throat Plate," but I've got several of them now that I made for this saw. But you could make a zero clearance throat plate for the Craftsman and kind of build in a little separator there, so that you still have some protection when you're using it, even though it doesn't have a riving knife. And then I've seen people that made, like built boxes around the bottom side of their saw so that they could, put a dust port on it and collect all the the sawdust and everything from below the saw. The cabinet saws, the contractor saws, they're a lot heavier, a lot bigger, just take up a lot more square footage, less mobile. What are the non-negotiables, right, when it comes to your setup? If you're doing stuff similar to what I'm doing, or a lot of things that are not that similar to what I'm doing, I think this thing works just great. But cabinet saws and contractor saws could be even better. Let's see. Oh, great conversation. Going to sleep. What? How dare you? And have a great stream. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it.